This whole channel of mine, it was never meant to be like a reaction or a commentary. Or I guess it was support. I'm not even sure what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to just be me playing games periodically on my Mac as a sort of break from the monotony of work and school. That was really all it was intended to be, but it's sort of evolving into something a bit different, which I'm just going to kind of roll with at the moment. But again, this was not meant to be a commentary. However, I do seem to be putting out a lot of commentary videos lately. And maybe that's a good thing because it means that I am finding certain things interesting and I feel I want to comment on them. So again, just going to roll with it. In the last video that I made, we were looking at Crimson Desert, which is a new upcoming game by Pearl Abyss. I didn't at the time know much about this game. It seems to be a very popular one, though. I've seen a lot of people talking about it online. A lot of people are really excited. That's great. From my perspective, the only reason I'm desperately interested in is this right here because it's coming to the Mac App Store. And as someone who, I'm nearing middle age at this point, and I don't have a lot of time to play games. I've said this many times before. The only device that I use today to play games is my Mac, and personally, I don't really want to use Steam, and I don't want to use all these other services. So I just, for the most part, download games from the Mac App Store. But as we all know, games do not come to the Mac very often, specifically on the Mac App Store. So whenever this happens, whenever we see a game coming to the Mac App Store, it's a reason to get excited, reason to celebrate. In the last video, I talked about this game. It was mostly just me learning about the game and learning about the organization behind it, Pearl Abyss. We did quickly watch the 50 minutes of early gameplay right here, but I noticed that they've been putting out other videos. So if we go into the announcements here, a lot of this content in here are videos on YouTube, if you follow them on their YouTube channel. But this one came out a couple days ago. It might have been yesterday, February 5th. Okay, it might have been 2 days ago. And it's supposed to feature combat and progression. Now, I did watch the first maybe minute or two of this. And again, I don't really want to just keep making commentary videos, but at the same time, this one caught my eye because it gives me some new information about the game where when I made the previous video reacting to the 50 minutes of gameplay, this video here kind of makes me rethink some of the things that I said in it. So I figured we could watch it. So this video is 9 minutes long. It's supposed to feature the combat and progression from the game. There is an individual from the studio who's commenting, so we will listen to him a little bit.
Today, we'll be shifting our attention to another important aspect of the game, combat and progression. Combat in Crimson Desert is visceral, and the battle...
So if you recall from the previous video, or if you didn't see my previous video, in the previous video that I made where I was commenting on the 50 minutes gameplay trailer that they made, my biggest concern watching that, again, and this is coming from someone who does not know much about the game. It was my first time learning about it in that previous video. But one of my biggest concerns was that in that 50-minute gameplay trailer, if you will, maybe 20% of that video actually had combat. And the other 80% was, again, I was kind of scrolling through it. You know what, let's say 30%. So let's say 1/3 of the video was combat, and the other 2/3 of the video was exploration and talking and story advancement. And again, I said this in the previous video, as someone who doesn't have a lot of time to sit down and play games, RPGs, big open world games, they used to be my bread and butter when it came to playing games when I was in like my 20s. But now, having much less time on my hands, when I sit down to play a game, maybe it's only for an hour, I do not want to spend that hour wandering around and talking to people. Like I'm coming to sit down to get sort of that adrenaline hit, right? And that's why I think open world games have started to interest me less as I get older, because there's so much lag. And I'm not talking about the game graphics or anything lagging. I mean, there's a lag in between the adrenaline hits, right? You get this big battle, you're very excited, you're having this great time in the game, and then all of a sudden you got like 30 minutes of you just wandering around and talking to people and trying to advance the story. That is such a mood killer. And when you don't have very much time to play games, that's like the last thing that you want. You don't want to sit down and just basically play a walking sim. That is the worst feeling for someone like me who is specifically playing games for the action and the adventure. So I don't know, it's just that was something I noticed in the 50-minute video that sort of, concerned me a little bit. There just seemed to be a lot of walking and a lot of talking, and that makes me really nervous. But this video here is literally about combat, so it should have a lot of combat.
The field is yours to shape. You will grow your arsenal of skills, weapons, and equipment, and it'll be up to you how you use them. Whether it's an aggressive offense, precisely timed defense, or even using your mount and the environment to your advantage.
Okay, so this thing here, this is something that I don't think was in the 50-minute video. Again, I kind of scrolled through a little bit of it, so I maybe didn't watch the entire thing. But I don't, aside from riding a horse, I don't recall seeing any other sort of like mounts that were being ridden. And here we're seeing like a bear of some sort. Not only are you riding the mount, but the mount itself is actually performing attacks and helping you in combat. That was not something that I saw in the 50-minute video. That's pretty cool. That adds a whole nother layer to this gameplay.
Combat in Playable is full of possibility.
This thing here is also, so I did see, so what we're 1 minute and 15 seconds in. So I did see this, but I didn't see much further than this when I did turn on this video the first time. What is this? So when you look at this game on the surface, you think, okay, it's sort of like, Skyrim. It looks like that sort of timeline, or, it's sort of historic. It's sort of, castle, sword, and shield. It was that sort of timeline that we're looking at here. But what the hell is he in right now? This, all of a sudden, it's like BioShock has entered the game here. He's in some sort of like Big Daddy outfit. This is this caught me way by surprise. So clearly this world has some sort of, I don't know what to call it. There's some sort of technology in this world.
Wield a wide array of weapons from sword and shield, spears, great swords, axes, and various ranged weapons. Each weapon has its own advantages, so switch back and forth to the ones that best fit your style.
Okay, so I want to stop it here as well. This is another thing that is catching me by surprise. So in the 50-minute video, I was under the impression, again, not knowing much about the game, I was under the impression that we would play as Cliff, as the main character. So essentially the game would be very similar to something like The Witcher, where you play as Geralt. That's your only option. You can't make your character. You're playing as the main character, being Geralt. In this one, I thought it was Cliff. Now I'm starting to question that, because I don't think that's Cliff that we're seeing there. Maybe you can create your own character. I don't know. It's a bit unusual.
And the situation you're in.
And she's using a gun. So this is what I'm getting at. Like there's technology in this world.
Powerful weapon skills can be.
So now we're back to, I'm assuming that's Cliff.
Hits and kicks, as well as a wide range of grapples to create seamless chains of attacks. Elemental enhancements further expand your options by empowering key abilities, allowing...
Okay, so this is another thing that in the previous video that I made reacting to the 50 minutes of gameplay, I commented on the lack of magic. Oftentimes in these sort of games, magic is one of the types of skills that you can use to defend or attack enemies, and there didn't seem to be any magic in the 50-minute video. What we did see is sort of like sword skills, if you will, where the sword could be, I don't know, it could like generate like a blast of energy or something like that, but you didn't see any magic. But here, it seems like there might be some magic. It's hard to say.
To burn, freeze, and stun enemies.
but it looks like the magic is still tied to your weapon.
And forge your own approach to combat.
Some of this stuff is really wild. The combat is, as they said, it's visceral. It's so dynamic. You can go wherever you want. Like, this is so often today. Whenever there is an open world game like this, I'm thinking of things like Final Fantasy, where when you encounter an enemy, oftentimes you're brought into this sort of like mini invisible arena where you're in this combat area and you can't really leave. And this is more like, like something like Fallout, for example, where, I mean, the whole world is open to you. You can go wherever you want. You get into these combat, and if you decide, you know what, I'm sick of this combat, I'm just going to run away, or I'm going to jump off a cliff. I like that. I like it. It's more realistic, right? You can go wherever you want. By the way, look at this beautiful frame that I froze on here. The grass, like, this is phenomenal. And you know what? It makes me think, it goes back to what I said before. This game is going to be a real bitch to run on Mac hardware. You're going to need something pretty powerful. And I don't think my M2 MacBook Air is going to be sufficient. But we'll see.
Flow directly into attacks, keeping you mobile and relentless.
And like, what is this? So now there's a grappling hook. He's like flying through the air. There's a lot going on. And now he's got like a ground pound slam. There's a lot going on in this game.
Letting you strike.
The environments are destructible. You can hit enemies into them. You can even throw them into walls.
The result is combat.
And again, like, look at the different characters here. So that isn't Cliff. That wasn't Cliff right there. So who were we playing as? Like, that's going to be a big question for me personally. I don't really know how I feel about it. As someone who likes RPG style games, I would prefer to make my own character and then progress that individual, this character that I created, that I am associated with. I'm not as much of a fan of being locked to a character, like in The Witcher, where you're playing as Geralt. I would rather make my own character, but I understand you're playing this character's life, you're playing through their story, but personally, I would rather make my own character. I'm kind of hoping there is some element of that, and watching this video here, we see that clearly there isn't just Cliff that's being played here. Now, I'm not sure what that means.
Of course, the skills you've just seen won't all be available from the start. If you've seen some of our previous gameplay videos, Cliff is usually shown at a much greater height of his power, wielding a wide...
Again, they're talking, that's gruesome as hell. They're talking about Cliff here. I gotta think that you can only play as Cliff. So I'm not sure what those other characters were that they were showing in this video. Maybe there are parts in the game where you are kind of, okay, you're gonna play as this character as a little bit to advance the story. You know what? That even drives me even more nuts. So not only can I not make my own character and progress that character's life, I have to play as Cliff. So I have to play as a character that they've created for me, which is fine. I don't like it, but it's okay. But now I'm starting to think, okay, there's going to be parts in the story where I'm not going to be playing as Cliff. I'm going to be playing as another character. Now I feel even more disconnected from the game. I don't like it when, again, this is just completely in my opinion, but like there's a scale here. One, in these types of RPG style games, I would rather make my own character. If I'm not going to get that, I have to play as a character, fine. I will play as that character. I still want to have a lot of control over their development, what they're using, the skills, how they approach combat, the weapons that they're using, etc., etc. But then there's like the lower thing. They're going to make me play as another character for a little bit. Oh, God, that drives me nuts. Don't like that. I get used to playing Cliff. I'm setting them up the way I want to play, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, for the next little while you're going to be playing as this other character because that's how we're, approaching the story. I don't want to do that.
As we mentioned in our previous features video, you will acquire artifacts, fragments of the abyss.
God, these worlds are beautiful.
Below, through quests, combat, and exploration. They lie at the end of many trials.
That's a big man right there.
Of powerful bosses and hidden across Pywell, including up in the abyss.
there's a lot of variety to this world.
Acquiring these artifacts will be crucial to your progression.
Oh, go back to that. Go back. Let me see that again. Go back. Everybody stop. Where's my mouse? Okay. Everybody stop. Let me see that again. No. Right there. Okay, let me see that.
Acquiring.
What is that? Right underneath where it says map, inventory, and journal, it says Cliff, Damien, and then Onka. There's different characters here. What does that mean? Does that mean we can switch between them at will? What? God, I don't know. Now I'm getting really nervous. This game is starting to look like Wuthering Waves or Genshin Impact. Now we're in a party and we have multiple characters. Oh God, I don't know about this. I'm getting real nervous now. I want to develop one character.
These artifacts
this is making me nervous.
Your progression, as they enable you to increase core stats like health and stamina, unlock new skills from
okay, here's one of the characters,
and enhance existing ones, thereby increasing your combat and exploration capabilities.
And here's okay. So what is there? 3 of them? Is that what I'm seeing here? There's 3 options.
Skills and upgrades cannot be obtained through artifacts alone and must be observed firsthand out in the world. You may be the type to want to upgrade your stamina quickly, to run and glide around the world longer to explore.
Jesus. This is going to be difficult to run.
Unlock and upgrade all the diverse grappling skills to continuously slam enemies into the ground. Decide which skills you want to combine and unleash during combat, and choose the direction of your progression by considering your playstyle.
I'm nervous, but at the same time, I'm hopeful because this individual who's talking and explaining the game is talking so much about how you have so many options, you have so much choice on how you want to approach the game, approach the combat, approach everything, and having that choice makes me think that maybe we will have the choice to ignore the fact that there are other characters. And, if we only want to play as Cliff in the entire game, maybe we can do that. I don't know. I'm hoping that this whole idea, this whole ideal of having all this choice and all these options when it comes to combat and everything carries over to the characters as well. Oh, that's unfortunate, buddy.
While learning and mastering your skills is important to winning battles, the equipment you bring to the battlefield can be just as crucial. As you travel across Pywell, you can buy, find, and craft the gear that gives you the edge in combat.
The mighty blade tests the heart of its master.
Okay, wait. Well, okay. Go back to that. Okay. I like this. I like what I'm seeing here. And I'll explain why. So, if you've ever played a game like Wuthering Waves or Genshin Impact, the menus, especially when you're going to buy or you're looking at the stats of a weapon or something like that, there's a lot on the screen. There is a lot to look at, and personally, I just find it a bit overwhelming. This here looks nice and slimmed down. I much prefer this. This even looks more slimmed down than something like Diablo. And Diablo is like right on the cusp for me. It's complicated, but it's not like too complicated. This here looks pretty simple. So we're at this shop, we're buying. It looks like we are considering buying this Bolton hammer, if I'm reading this correctly. The shop has a stock of 1. It costs 1.52 currency, whatever the currency is. It has an attack of 10, attack speed of level 0, critical hit chance level 1, and then this refine at the bottom. But we can see that the attack is 8 lower than the weapon that we're currently using, which is the Wolf's Fang, a one-handed weapon, which the attack on that is 18. We see level 1 for both attack speed and critical hit chance, and then it's been refined, it looks like 3 times. And it looks like it has some attributes at the bottom, which have been added on, or maybe they came with this weapon, or maybe they came as a result of that refining that had been done on it. This is very simple to understand. It's very simple to read. I like that. Really like that. We have our currency up in the top right, and we have the buy, close, move around, and compare down in the bottom right, the buttons. Again, really like this. Yeah, very excited about that. I can't stand it when games like this, so when the world is so big, it's almost like they decide, not only do we want our world to be big because this is a big, beautiful game, we need to make the whole mechanics, we need to make the whole purchasing and the selling and the items and all of that stuff, we need to make that as complex as possible to really sell how big this world is. And no, don't do that. Keep that stuff relatively simple. Focus your time on the world itself. Don't make the itemization and all that stuff, don't make that complicated. That just drives people nuts. It certainly drives me nuts.
Your equipment can be upgraded for higher stats.
Okay, so they can be upgraded for higher stats. I'm wondering if that's the refining thing that we saw. Oh, here's an enhancement.
Upgrading your weapons, armor, and equipment can be found in a wide range of ways.
Okay, so this was something I commented on in the previous video. I said, again, coming back to like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, those games have a lot of items that you can collect in the world, whether it's herbs, whether it's mining items like this. And I suspected that this game would probably have that as well. That's what we're seeing here. It sounds like if you want to upgrade your equipment, you are going to require materials that you have to collect from the world around you. This is personally, I don't like this. Again, it comes back to this is added complexity. Personally, I don't want to have to deal with this. I just kind of want to focus on the game. I don't want to collect stuff in the world around me. But anyways, right here, what we're seeing where he's collecting minerals in order to upgrade his weapons and stuff, this is less bothersome to me than when you have to collect like herbs and stuff and do crafting. And I don't know, that gets, I'm hoping that's more optional. Again, coming back to these developers and this guy who was talking in the video saying that, you have so many options to approach combat. I'm hoping all of these ideals for options, they translate over to other aspects of the game, like this mining and crafting and hunting and all this kind of stuff.
Defeating powerful bosses. Through quests and by uncovering them in hidden locations.
God, this is gorgeous.
You will also be able to customize
Look at this.
with extra stats and special effects.
Okay, this is interesting. So what is this? Equip Abyss gear. So magic gear of some sort? I'm not sure what this is. All weapons equipable. An Abyss gear that can be equipped. Oh, it's like a gear, like an actual gear. That can be equipped in a gear socket to gain a range. Oh, so this is, it's almost like a gem that you would socket into your weapons or so all weapons equipable. Interesting. And what does this do? So it is this one that we're looking at here, Gale 1. It looks like it adds attack speed level 1. Is that what I'm seeing? Well, definitely going to want that for me. I like speed. All about the speed.
Mix and match these across your weapons and armor, and experiment to discover what combinations work best for you in the battlefield and out in the world.
So this is sort of similar to, like Diablo or Path of Exile. Oh my god, is that a massive spider? Don't like that. Not a fan of spiders. What? Okay. What is this?
Human and beast, steel and sorcery.
Oh my god, this game has so much variety.
They'll test your limits in different ways. At the end of these hard-fought encounters, special rewards await.
This game looks huge. How long have they been working on this?
To their signature abilities, or grant unique effects and bonuses. So build on the strength you gain through each victory. Take down.
Coming back to that comment on like complexity when it comes to the complexity of the itemization or whatever else. but I'm also curious of the complexity of combat. So we're seeing the characters here. They're doing a lot of different maneuvering and a lot of different attacks and skills, and I need to see how that plays out in practice. Again, I'm someone who, make fun of me all you want, but I'm someone who sits closer on the end of the spectrum that's more like button mashing. I'll be honest. When I play a game like this, I'm button mashing more than I would say the average person. Now, that doesn't mean I'm just slamming the A button on my controller and calling it a day. I am pressing other buttons, but I would say I'm more button mashing than maybe the average person. I'm not usually thinking about, okay, I got to string, X together with A and then press Y once and then press right bumper or whatever to do a combo move. I'm not doing that very often. So I'm hoping that coming back to those options where, there's a lot going on in this combat, someone who's more like me, someone who is a bit more of a button masher, it still works. I'm hoping that combat doesn't become impossible because of the added complexity of all these skills and combos and stuff. Again, they said multiple times you can approach combat and you can approach this game in whatever playstyle you want. I'm hoping that's true. But just watching these combat sequences here, there is a lot going on.
That brings us to the end of this features overview video. We hope you look forward to Crimson Desert's combat and your progression journey as you explore and fight across Pywell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next and final features overview video.
Okay, so they have one more video coming out. What is that? Yeah, so I'll have to keep an eye open for the next video that comes out. This one was great though. Like, this one here gave me a lot. It makes me feel better about the game because there's so much combat being shown off here. Look at how many enemies there are. Like, this looks amazing. If the whole game was just this, I'd be like living in a dream world. It's amazing. Just give me all the enemies. I want all the enemies. I want all the combat. I want it all. I don't want much, take the walking around, the walking sim and all the talking and stuff, reduce that down to like the minimal. That's my opinion. I know other people have different opinions, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, game looks amazing. What does it say here? So there's a pre-order bonus. PlayStation 5. Look at Mac App Store. Big spot right here. Beautiful. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone's gonna make fun of me. I want to play the game on the Mac App Store, but I don't care. That's my crazy platform of choice. Anyways, pretty excited for this game. The more I see, the more I get more and more excited for it. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped up. And this video here did exactly what it needed to do for someone like me, someone who wants all the combat. This was great, but I still have so many questions. And you know what we're seeing here? So there are 3 people being shown here. So this is Cliff, I'm assuming. So there's 3 of them. What does this mean? Does this mean that we can switch between these 3 characters at any point in the game? Do we have to switch between them? Do we not have to switch between them? I'm hoping that I can just play as my person, which I guess is going to be Cliff. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.